This video will be part starting guide and tips and part playthrough. I want to show how I begin the game and get through the ranks and phases of the game in a natural, informative and concise way. I play the game as if there were some phantom opponent I am racing to arm myself against, but know that in reality there is no such pressure in the current game and the punishment for dawdling and dilly-dally are near non-existent. I'm not going to do trading, like buying cheap desert and Asserai horses around Askar and selling them in horse-starved towns near Vlandia. There's plenty of videos about boring stuff like that, and I don't think it's as helpful for early money as it used to be.
My goal in starting a new game is to reach clan rank 1 while developing character skills and building some funds in an enjoyable way while spending as few days of game time as I can. I will not be smithing or trading as these are both boring to me and spend campaign time only raising funds, while my playstyle raises all productive interests of the player's clan. Sandbox or campaign? I usually choose campaign because you get several useful clan members. Without these family clan members you are dependent on random wanderers to fill your party roles, captain, and governor functions. I'll add some sandbox tips as I go too though. You do not have to do the main quest in campaign to make a kingdom every day. Angry people ask about it thinking they have to do it, you don't just ignore it. I always choose the Batanian culture because the movement speed is a versatile bonus that actually covers all the conditional benefits of the others. Need more money, more influence, more trade skill? Just get it done faster by moving faster and you always have more, plus you can catch and escape enemies more easily. Male or female? A female main character has better choices for well-equipped spouses, but she cannot reset her fertility by possibly marrying again when her first spouse dies, as the fertility is tied to her. The male however can reset the fertility with a new wife and may be able to create many more children this way. However, the male's wife may die in childbirth, but the female player character cannot die this way. Children inherit the cultural perk from the mother only. I usually make a female character. You can copy the sliders of a character in an old game by pressing Ctrl+C on the character slider page, opened by pressing V on the campaign map, and paste it over a new character with Ctrl+V. I choose the tallest size because it is much easier to hit enemies this way and there is no downside. Anyone who says otherwise is just a manlet telling manlet lies.
I'm going to tell you how I like to build a character and why, but I'm sure you have your own ideas and preferences, so don't let me discourage you even if I express very negative opinions on some skills.
I favor a main character that has high cunning and social to make use of the most clan leader and party leader only perks I can, and I always take 3 endurance to use the mounted patrols perk from riding with the keen sight perk from scouting. The 225 scouting skill keen sight when combined with the 225 riding perk mounted patrols on the main character will let you hold lord prisoners forever in your party, an ability I make extensive use of later in the game.
Although I don't build my character to be the party surgeon, I do want to get the 25 medicine skill preventative medicine to heal me after battles.
I don't raise vigor or prioritize melee weapon skills as I find the default character is very powerful with any weapon with 0 skill. I will raise polearm when I run out of more useful skills. I use the bow extensively through the whole game and sometimes start with 3 control to get the 225 horse master perk, not to use longbows, but for the plus 30 bow skill captain perk, now that captain perks work for the player. If you won't use bow, I advise that you use a light crossbow, and without investing focus points in crossbow, it will do decent damage and help you gain experience to level up even if you don't invest any focus points. I want 3 endurance to get the 225 riding perk mounted patrols. I will often raise athletics later, but sometimes I skip it. I never use smithing because I virtually never wait, so I will never regain smithing stamina. I want 7 or more cunning to help me quickly get the 225 scouting perk keen sight. There is a variety of other useful perks in scouting, tactics and roguery too, but getting high roguery requires performing prison breaks, so I may skip it in games where I can't do them very often. I want 7 or more social, but I will raise it after raising cunning to 7 as the high levels of leadership take much longer to reach. Leadership and charm have many useful perks. I don't use trade as I use warfare for both financial gain and fief collecting. However, in some games where I aim to execute all lords, I ignore social and its skills altogether. With the exception of the 25 medicine perk preventative medicine, I ignore intelligence and its skills. I will use clan members for all these skills, and doing so even has advantages such as the effect of engineering for a governor when building fief upgrades. When building the character with the background choices, my first concern is to not waste any attribute points, as you will only get about 8 or 9 more over a long game. My next concern is only getting focus points and skills I actually want. This may be easy or hard depending on what you favor. You can use the arrow to go back and choose different choices until you find the best combination. This is currently my favorite starting build, as it doesn't waste any attributes and all the focus points are in skills I will use. If you started a sandbox game, you have a choice of age instead of the final background choice. I choose 20 because I want to make as much use of my character as I can before they die. I don't find that the extra attributes and focus points from an older character increase the skill gain anywhere near enough to compare to using the young character's high skills longer before they die. However, if you plan to play with death and birth turned off, then starting as an older character is fine. I use the hardest settings as I feel it's needed for proper feedback on balancing. I don't use Iron Man because having multiple save files is useful for reporting bugs. I always have death and birth enabled. I play the tutorial once an update just to check for bugs, but otherwise I skip it. It can be good for getting some skill ups though. Once you are on the map, you can press N to open the encyclopedia and see which wanderers the game has randomly spawned. Although more will slowly spawn as the game goes on, it can be worthwhile to restart the game and check them until you have at least 1 or 2 good ones, such as the 120 medicine skill Asire Scholar, especially if you started a sandbox game, as you will not have as many clan members to help you. First, I spend my first level on medicine so I can begin getting the preventative medicine perk. I go to the nearest town and sell my melee weapons and civilian gear, saving the cape as it cannot be re-equipped. I buy a better horse and 2 more stacks of arrows. Remember, if you aren't raising bow skill, you might want to buy a light crossbow and bolts to help you level up quickly. You don't need to spend focus points on crossbow to do this.
My basic plan for getting to clan rank 1 is circling the Western and Southern Empire areas, recruiting troops, fighting looters and looking for tournaments and certain quests. By clan rank 1 I want to have 70 bow skill, 90 riding skill, 25 medicine, have hired 1 wanderer and upgrading to a Nordic shortbow ASAP. Extra goals along the way can be doing profitable quests such as deliver the herd, trouble with brigands and manual laborers, and even taking out a minor clan party of Hidden Hand or Embers of the Flame. I may even get married during this phase. After shopping at Poros I begin my route east. Let's see how it goes. Recruits are scarce today, but I still only want the basic recruits as I will be getting them killed often for medicine skill. Also, the basic Imperial recruit can become a powerful crossbow unit, many times more useful than a cavalry unit and not requiring any horses to upgrade. The Imperial noble recruit is like a hole you throw money in. With 0 quests, 1 recruit and no looters in sight, it seems a tournament in Zionica will be my first fight of the game. If you save your game before you view the tournament reward screen, you can reload to re-roll the prize. They thought they fixed this, but as usual the fix just makes me have to try slightly harder. I'll bet each round because I'm only going to lose to some total bullshit, and I can always reload and try again if that happens. Starting with a 4v4 is bad luck as you don't have any control over your allies, unlike in Warband, and you must win the match, unlike other large arrangements. Try to hit them in the back if you're mounted. If unmounted, well, try to take a horse from a fallen rider. If dismounted, try to pick up a sword and shield. Here I have a polearm. I imagine it strikes from my right shoulder and ignore what it looks like. Works for me. AI foot units are much better at hitting a mounted player than you likely are hitting them, so always aim for the rider. If dismounted, they become much stronger on foot. 2v2 are bad luck as well. Doing 2 in 1 turn ain't even more so, but if we can make sure to down 1 enemy before our teammate goes down, we should win easily. Even if you have a ranged weapon, it's good to run ahead so they don't double up on your teammate. Picking up a dropped shield if you didn't spawn with one is very helpful. With a sword and shield, simple left and right swings will easily defeat the AI in the final 1v1 round. Shield blocking is very fast and forgiving. Keep in mind this character had 0 combat skills coming in, and this is on the highest difficulty. Come on Tail Worlds. This is why I don't bother with melee skills or athletics until I run out of better skills. Finally some looters, but we only have 2 troops. Looters, or rather their stones, are deadly in mass. To combat this I will shoot them from as far away as possible. I will retreat these 2 poor troops, causing a distraction and splitting the looters and their stones in half, for now, shooting just above their heads after stopping just outside of their throwing range will let me wear them down. If you run out of arrows, or if you didn't buy extra stacks, you can always press tab and retreat to exit the fight and begin again with full arrows, minus any enemies or troops that were downed in the first fight. No tournament in Jalmaris, but luckily I get the Deliver the Herd quest from the last horse village, and I even have enough recruits to avoid a herd penalty with room to spare. 5 of them can be taken down before it kicks in. Back to Poros we go, circling through Amitatis. By the way, each non-mounted troop can handle 2 animals, each mounted troop can handle 1 animal, having rideable horses, meaning not sumpter or mules. With foot troops will give a small speed bonus but not as much as a mounted unit. Surprisingly, war horses count for this bonus as well. When my troops outnumber some looters now, I will send them in auto battle because they would easily clobber them in live battle. Remember, I want some medicine skill. After several such auto battles my numbers are down and I'm outnumbered again. But I have a trick this time. By disrupting the looters' approach and staggering them out, even just 3 recruits can handle the 9 looters. Too bad I took a rock or 2. But I'm on my way to getting the preventative medicine perk, which will make this a non-issue for the rest of the game. With it, as long as my forces win, I will be healed enough to fight again in the next battle. This may be a little boring to watch, but it shows a useful example of interfering with the AI enemies, and one I wanted to show in full. Having traded in the horses to finish the quest, I will now begin buying cheap Imperial chargers. Though they cost only slightly more than normal horses, they can be consumed to upgrade powerful horse archer units, but for now they give my party a slight speed bonus. Continuing east is uneventful at first, but I find and purchase the Nordic shortbow upgrade, and soon after I spot the perfect target to test it out. With only 1 ranged unit and 1 cavalry, this Embers of the Flames party is the perfect prey for a hungry player. Their shieldless troops with no ranged weapons are even easier prey than looters. Beginning the fight, I will retreat my troops. While the enemies chase my troops, I will focus on destroying the 1 ranged unit and 1 cavalry unit. The ranged unit will focus on me, and be easily isolated from the other enemies. The accuracy of the Nordic shortbow really helps with this. This would be much harder with the starting bow. I must slow down to shoot straight and immediately move after the shot fires to avoid being shot myself. I make a mistake and destroy the horse before the rider, letting him blend into the mob of enemies. Now begins the casual grind of the enemies, an excellent source of skill ups for riding and bow, as well as raw experience to level up. If you're not used to horse archery, this is a great way to get a feel for it. I aim to destroy the lower tier enemies first as they contribute less to the loot pool. I will be retreating when I run out of arrows and starting the fight again. But the defeated troops are gone for good, along with their loot credit. You can even spend any perks or levels you earned or change your equipment before attacking again. The enemy cavalry is back in action, but he won't last long this time. The culling continues, thinning out the lower tier troops first, retreating as many times as needed until the last enemy is defeated. This has been a huge boon to building my skills and a decent haul of junk loot and prisoners. I'll even take in the looters freed from the prisoners. Back in Faucon, the loot and prisoners bring my wealth up to an amount where I can begin shopping for a husband. Though some spouses can be free, cheap or have a dowry, the ones I favor usually cost several thousand. But first I find a second tournament, both 4-way battles. Solo or team are very easy because you just have to outlast 2 enemies, you don't have to win to move on. Neither a cataphracts or a legionnaire offer more challenge than the basic infantry we fought in the last tournament. Kintig will give me a noble bow and a long glaive, the best weapons in the game. If I can marry him before he or his father are imprisoned, it will be a big boost. However, I am nearly rank 1, which opens other possibilities and obligations. We'll see what happens. I catch up with Kintig at Cerritos, but I can't interact with him until he finishes raiding. Marriage can waste a lot of days riding back and forth looking for NPCs, so it's best to get it done before I have an expensive party with me. I will always try to do something productive on the way or while waiting for the second dialogue game. Back to Makeb, for a tournament. Husite glaive duels are no joke. One shot is lethal, but I make it through, winning a decent body armor. Catching Kintig between his raids, I can begin the marriage game. I save my game first because it is a horrible RNG dumpster fire to get married. The first of 2 dialogue choice games is easy to pass, usually the higher success option will pass. But sometimes multiple tries are needed. I must wait over a day now before I can do the second dialogue game. Passing the time fighting a looter party and finding a tournament in Mysia, I reach clan rank 1. Even with no investment in athletics, I can easily outrun the AI and get them to attack each other. I did not reach the skills I wanted, but reaching rank 1 in 13 days is good progress. Once I recruit a wanderer, I will trigger the quest to rescue my brother, who will be a powerful clan member. In review, I did only a modest amount of things to reach clan rank 1 in 13 days, with near 10k funds in hand. I'll return soon to continue rescuing my brother, hopefully getting married and beginning a powerful opening to fill my ranks with the strongest soldiers on the way to clan rank 2.